that,
Are you asking me a question? Because if you are, if you're asking me if any physical harm's been done to you, the answer to that is yes, there has been physical harm done to you. Albeit minor.
Huh?
Albeit minor physical harm.
Okay, but, well, I mean...
Sir, can you tell me what harm that was?
Yes. There was an incident where Mr. Rogers was followed throughout the complex for several hundred yards where he videotaped it, and when he got to the walkway near his residence, he was pushed or bumped by the person that was chasing him around. We completed a crime report in regards to that incident that was on video and submitted that to the DA's office, and they refused to file the case. There was another incident where Mr. Rogers was driving around with a high-powered spotlight, more than 5 million candle-powered light, illuminating the entire complex at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. When he was
I didn't have the spotlight at that time yet.
When he was confronted by one of the neighbors in the absolute opposite corner of where he lived, and was
I didn't have the light
spat
at that
on.
time. No, the spat on was daytime.
No, that was a nighttime where he got spat on.
No, it was daytime.
And then there was a third incident where Mr. Rogers, he enjoyed, again, pushing the limits, and knowing that as long as he was parking his vehicle within the painted lines of the parking spaces, that there was nothing the association could do to him. So he would do that, maintaining his vehicle in his parking space, but parking far too close to the neighbor's car so that they couldn't get into their car through the driver's door.
That was at the time I tried to
not allowing them to even open their door more than 4 to 6 inches so that they could not get in. Well, one of those incidents where he was maneuvering his vehicle while videotaping, he ran into the neighbor's car while the neighbor's son was outside. The neighbor's son got angry.
Nobody was outside of it.
John, please don't interrupt. The neighbor's son was outside, and the neighbor, the vehicle owner, the father of the son, came out and was extremely angry, and John had a piece of cardboard because his driver's door window was missing. So he had a piece of cardboard closing that window. The neighbor punched through the cardboard very violently, creating a huge ruckus, a huge sound, and it's even somewhat frightening for me to watch on the video.
It's already gone.
So that narrowly missing punching Mr. Rogers in the face, and was screaming at the top of his lungs about running into his car.
When did that?
In 2009.
No, 2010.
No, that was before the restraining orders. That happened in December of 2009.
Yeah,
all that predates.
I've been dealing with Mr. Rogers since approximately August of 2009.
But you're talking about things that were, even you're cutting things, but
I see from your business card, sir, that your title is Directed Enforcement Team. What is that?
Yes, we're a community-oriented policing unit consisting of 4 officers that our primary focus is to deal with these types of neighborhood disputes and try to figure out a solution to these long-term disputes that can't be handled by a patrol officer in 20 minutes. And that's how that's one of the reasons why I became involved.
And about how long ago was that?
That was August of 2009.
Have you been able to effectuate a resolution to any issues?
some of the behaviors you stated in court.
No.
Some of my then behaviors try to stand up to the neighbors then, parking close to cars, writing letters, things like that they didn't like, taking them to their windows.
Further answering your question, Your Honor, we've gotten closer than any other officer in my detail has over the past. I think we've been in the city of Huntington Beach, been dealing with Mr. Rogers since probably the late 80s, early 90s.
Impossible.
Okay, well, so you tell me when. When was this? When was this?
For the record, you're planning to photograph it.
Yeah.
This is a family picture.
No, not that one. Just when were these pictures at, not the Gables, the other complex?
That was 2002, 2001.
Okay, so early 2000s.
Okay, but not 1980.
Okay.
I was living somewhere else. I didn't come to Huntington Beach at all until 1995, and an officer, remember, I point to be made, Officer Dave Wydering, I turned out had been my neighbor for, I guess, several years at Las Brisas apartment complex, and he never heard my name. What does that mean? That the neighbors were treating me kindly or fairly and not dumping on me. But here's what happened. This is really what got things flying overboard.
Do you have a question for the officer? I have a follow-up question, sir. You explained to me what the direct enforcement team is. Given what your work is with neighborhood disputes, how would you describe the percentage of times you're involved with the Gables and Mr. Rogers versus other community disputes in Huntington Beach?
In 2009 and 2010, that was probably approximately 90 to 95% of what I was doing, especially since August of 2009 to the end of the year.
And have you observed in the last several months that there's been a common issues?
Apparently.
Since Mr. Rogers sued the city of Huntington Beach in a civil claim, I have not been allowed to interact with him or even speak to him in person or on the telephone for my supervisors because he had sued the city until he provided me with documentation to say either that he dropped the lawsuit or that the suit had been dismissed. So I have not had any contact with them other than maybe 2 or 3 2-minute phone calls advising him that I'm unable to speak to him about any of this.
You're under a subpoena, sir, by Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Rogers.
So basically, okay. So, I have always said, that things were done to me in the past, but when they argued, okay, you would tell me that I follow the orders to the T, more or less. Basically, if this agreement says, that's probably where Dave EIDLHUBER probably made that mention. The agreement says that I cannot come out of my home between 7 and 8 a.m. So, I went and got back one day between 6 and 7. And I think that's what triggered Dave saying out of control. But I remember that. I say, no, I have not violated anything. I said this says between 7 and 8 a.m. So if I came out and went to the pool between 6 and 7 and got back home before 7 a.m., that's what I remember. That would have triggered that call. But still, I held to the agreement. Apparently, it was understood. They had tried to enhance the agreement.
What's your question?
As far as you know, you were in both. If I remember when you were called into both meetings in February and March about the agreement, you were a participant.
Yes.
As far as you know, did I live up to them, yes or no?
Looking at earlier the handwritten one, which I don't know where that is.
Did I live up to my agreement? Yes or no?
Hang on, let him look at it. I think that was the...
There were 2 of them, yeah.
I specifically recall the handwritten agreement,
Did I live up to it?
and Mr. Rogers did live up to this agreement.
Okay. Was there not another agreement I entered into to get the fines from the city dismissed that called on me to do things a certain way, and then you went back to court with me, saying to Judge Adams, he has fulfilled his agreement, and the fines were thrown out. Do you remember that? There was a separate agreement from this, having to do with Judge Adams and you. And you went back to court with me in front of Judge Adams, and he threw out the noise fines that had been. Remember that? There was an agreement. You were there.
I remember the agreement, but it's a confidential agreement between myself, our city attorney, and the judge.
Okay, but you went back in there, and even Newcomb was there, and you stood up in front of us with this. A transcript can be obtained saying he was asking if he lived up to his agreement.
But the terms of that agreement weren't discussed in open court.
Oh, okay, but it doesn't matter what they were. I'm not asking. All I'm saying, I lived up to the terms of that, whatever the agreement was.
You did, and the fines